world's attention shifted dramatically when a major escalation unfolded in the Middle East. A US and Israeli military offensive in Iran that resulted in the death of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. What began as a regional conflict quickly sparked reactions far beyond West Asia, reaching the distant valleys of Jammu and Kashmir and high-altitude plateaus of Ladakh. The news from the front lines of the conflict spread rapidly across these northern Union territories. For many in J&K and in Ladakh's Shia's majority area, like Kargil, the Ayatollah was more than a distant political figure. He was a religious symbol whose influence had shaped decades of spiritual life. The announcement of his death sent waves of shock and sorrow through these communities, prompting spontaneous gatherings in towns and neighborhoods. Grief poured out on the streets as people expressed solidarity with the Iranian people and condemned the violence. Massive protest demonstrations were held in pockets of J&K and Ladakh, where the mourners with portraits of Ayatollah Khamenei raised slogans against US and Israel. Alongside emotional responses at home, the conflict triggered real practical concerns. One of the most pressing was the plight of Indian students studying in Iran, a concern that has gripped families across J&K and Ladakh. Iran has long been a destination for students from these regions seeking affordable medical, engineering and theological education. When the war erupted, many of these young people found themselves stranded, unable to return home due to flight cancellation and escalating military confrontation. Back in Srinagar, Budgam and Kargil, worried parents anxiously followed updates, their messages and calls filled with fear for the safety of their children. Local student bodies and community organizations appealed urgently to the Government of India to facilitate evacuations and ensure safe passage home for those caught in the crossfire. At the same time, the shock waves of the conflict touched everyday life in these regions. Authorities, anticipating large gatherings and potential unrest, announced temporary closure of schools and colleges in Kashmir. The pace of life slowed as security forces increased their presence to maintain calm. Internet services were restricted to control the spread of unverified information, reflecting the administration's concern about rumors fueling further tension. What is striking in all of this is how an international clash in Persian Gulf reverberated in places that are geographically thousands of kilometers away. For the Shia community in Ladakh and parts of J&K, the news was not just political, it was personal. For families with children in Iran, it was a reminder of how fragile safety can become when geopolitical tensions flare. The story of Iran-US-Israel war is not just about missiles and diplomacy. In J&K and Ladakh, it has become a story of grief and solidarity, fear and uncertainty, and the urgent hope that loved ones will make it home safely.